Okay. Hey guys. Coming up tonight on Now, the man accused of murdering a Somerset County Sheriff's deputy denies the charges.
And we'll be asking for a life sentence.
Prosecutors push for the harshest punishment possible while John Williams pleads not guilty.
I have mixed feelings. I'm not quite sure yet.
Maine makes history with the nation's first statewide election using ranked choice voting. Voters decide, is it here to stay?
I will probably not certify the election. I will leave it up to the courts to decide.
If the governor had his way, ranked choice voting would be long gone. His threat to send today's results to court, only here on News Center Maine. This is News Center Now. The man accused of killing Somerset County Sheriff's Deputy Corporal Eugene Cole stands before a judge, declares he is not guilty. Hello, everybody. I'm Lee Goldberg.
And I'm Christina Rex. We'll have details from John Williams' arraignment in just a moment. But first, a 7th grader from Lewiston Middle School died this afternoon during a class field trip to Rang Pond in Poland. The superintendent tells News Center Maine the boy was playing football with his classmates in the water when he went under, and he didn't come back up. Lifeguards and staff searched the murky water for 20 minutes before they found the middle schooler. He was rushed to the hospital, but he did not survive. The superintendent says students and faculty are shocked and saddened. The boy's name is not being released at this time. As the story develops, we will have more on our website and, of course, on our mobile apps.
John Williams appeared in a Cumberland County courtroom this afternoon after a grand jury indicted him last Thursday for the murder of Corporal Eugene Cole. Until now, we do not know the type of weapon used in Corporal Cole's killing, but the indictment reveals it was a Ruger 9mm handgun. The Somerset County Sheriff's Chief Deputy says that the gun did not belong to Corporal Cole or any other deputy.
But he did not say who that gun actually belongs to. While the attorneys could not comment on the details of this case, the prosecution believes they have a strong case.
John Williams looks much different now than the day police arrested him in the woods. His black eye healed, his beard shaven.
Years to life in prison. How do you wish to plead? Not guilty, Your Honor.
He entered a not guilty plea to the charge of murder of Somerset County Sheriff's Deputy Eugene Cole. In less than 3 minutes, the arraignment is over. Williams' family and friends wait for him outside. They shout, "Love you," to Williams as he's put in the police cruiser, headed back to jail where he'll be held without bail. Attorneys for Williams say information in the case is limited.
I understand there's a process. This is a big investigation, so there's a lot of information that they're still gathering.
Multiple searches from many leads.
Despite weeks of media attention, including a 4-day manhunt and the healing of the community, the state believes finding an unbiased jury is still possible.
While people will have heard of the shooting, they won't. That doesn't necessarily mean they can't be fair and impartial.
We waive reading.
The defense hopes information from discovery and the results of Williams' mental health evaluation will help them build their case.
I've handled homicides. I have not handled. This hasn't, obviously, these types of crimes don't happen in Maine, fortunately, very often.
Meanwhile, the state, seeking justice, believes it can prove Williams is the killer.
I'm very confident in the state's case. I believe we will prove it beyond a reasonable doubt, and we'll be asking for a life sentence.
Now, after the arraignment, NECN's Danielle Waugh spoke with Williams' mother, and she said that drugs played a big role in what happened that night, and that now John is sober.
Earlier today, Cheryl Cole, the wife of Corporal Cole, posted on Facebook sharing the news of the day dedicated to her husband, as well as the bridge being renamed for him. She also wrote, quote, "I've chosen to let go of any hate and anger. Holding on to hate, anger, and vengeance is like drinking the poison yourself and expecting the other person to die. So I won't drink it."
A couple of hard news stories to start our day, but this put pretty much everybody in a good mood today, and that would be Keith, because we had this big, bright, yellow, shiny, beautiful thing in the sky today.
I don't think it's fair to say that Keith put everyone in a good
No,
mood.
I think that's,
You could
that's
end
accurate.
it
I think
just
that's
at like
accurate.
everyone's in a good mood because of Keith today. I think my poll numbers are surging today, looking good.
84 officially for a high in Portland, 82 in Lewiston, 81 in Augusta. We talked yesterday about how the model that I was showing you, the computer model, was way too cool with temperatures having us in the 70s. And sure enough, we ended up between 80 and 85 across much of the state. Still currently warm. You have these late day highs around 3, 4 o'clock in most spots. And so temperatures are still in the 80s. Exception, Bar Harbor cooling down at 67 and out into Eastport as well. Satellite still pretty clean. A few clouds starting to move into the mountains and northern Maine. But most of tonight, all of tonight is dry, and most of it is mainly clear. Our next storm system is this mess out here. It doesn't have all that much precipitation with it, and as it lifts towards us tomorrow, we start clouding up through late morning and then showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon. But you'll notice the first several hours of the day tomorrow are fine. In fact, over northern and down east Maine, most of the day is dry. It's not until at least midday that showers and storms move into western and southern Maine. Those showers and storms continue throughout the afternoon. Guys, we have some heat to talk about for the weekend. Could have some of us upper 80s and into the 90s. We'll talk details in a few minutes.
Candidates for governor and the U.S. House of Representatives were out in full force today, while Mainers head to the polls to choose their party's nominees. But this year, it wasn't just those names on the ballot that had voters talking. The ballot itself was a hotly contested issue. If you voted today, or if you still plan to, you are part of history in the making.
Yeah, the non-traditional method of ranked choice voting allows constituents to rank the candidates in order of their preference. We've talked a lot about this, a lot. Lindsay Mill spoke to voters in Lewiston. Some mixed opinions on this one tonight, Lindsay.
Hi, Lee. Hey, K-Rex. Yes, we've been talking about this a lot, and other cities across the nation have used ranked choice voting before, including Portland, but this is the first time it's being used in a statewide election. And the question is today, is it here to stay? We talked to a lot of voters today who said they were prepared to rank the candidates by their personal preference. But the wording of question 1, which essentially asks voters if they support ranked choice voting, confused them. Here's what some of you had to say when it comes to ranking the candidates.
I'm kind of curious too. I thought we already voted that the people wanted it, and I don't understand why we're doing it again.
I would have come out to vote regardless. I would have been out here either way, but it is a big reason that I came out. I'm not registered in either party, so it's the reason I'm here today.
Even the ballot feeding.
One person, one vote. That's what the Constitution says.
One person, one vote.
You don't say, okay, well, then him, and then him. No, wait, then her. That's splitting up your vote. It's almost communism.
If it works in Portland, I think it would work for us too.
I don't know. It seems like there's too many choices that we have to make, and then you've got to figure out which one of the three is going to be the better one. I don't know. I haven't decided. I guess when I get in the booth, I'm going to decide.
And Republican candidate for governor Mary Mayhew told me today she thinks ranked choice voting is a scam and that it undermines the election process. Meanwhile, Democratic representative for Congress in the 2nd district, for Maine's 2nd district, to represent that in Washington, Jared Golden, he says that he is open to the idea of election reform. And coming up tonight on News Center Maine at 11 and on our News Center Maine Facebook page, I'll have more on his campaign from where he plans to watch some of the results roll in tonight. For now, live in Lewiston, Lindsay Mills for News Center Now. K-Rex, back to you.
All right, Lindsay, thanks so much. Now, many Republicans are resolutely against ranked choice voting, including Governor LePage, who spoke exclusively to News Center Maine today.
I find ranked choice voting to be repugnant to the Constitution. There's been a precedent set for many, many years, and the courts have told me when it's not set in law, we go by precedent. So if they go by precedent, this is unconstitutional.
So will you certify this election?
I will probably not certify the election. I will leave it up to the courts to decide.
But our Secretary of State says this isn't the governor's call. This is a primary, not an election, so the results don't actually need to be certified by the Blaine House. We have much more from Governor LePage and Secretary of State Matt Dunlap coming up on News Center Maine at both 5:30 and 6.
The woman accused of killing her daughter by brutally beating her is trying to get 2 prosecutors thrown off of her case, taking the argument to Maine's highest court. Sharon Carrillo's lawyer says his client has the mental capacity of a 12-year-old and is shaken to the core by the judicial process.
It's hard for us to imagine that the idea that someone saw early a report that would soon be part of the public record could shake her as much as being charged with the murder of her daughter.
Carrillo and her husband Julio are charged with the depraved indifference murder of her 10-year-old daughter Marissa Kennedy. Her lawyer Chris McLean is trying to get 2 prosecutors from the Attorney General's office off her case, claiming misconduct. His motion was initially denied in local courts, and today he pleaded his case to Maine's Supreme Court. McLean claims prosecutors intentionally threatened a New York school with a subpoena and a fake court date in order to get confidential records. The Attorney General's office, on the other hand, says this was a mistake and a mix-up just due to prosecutors being busy with multiple cases. Those records reveal information about Sharon Carrillo's mental health and learning disabilities, something her attorney claims is affecting her throughout this process.
This whole process is very scary to her. It's hard for her to process it and to think it through, and to know that the prosecutors in the case have done something bad and have obtained records that they're not allowed to have, and that they have information to use against her that they're not allowed to have, is frightening and scary, and especially because of her intellectual limitations.
Now, Carrillo was not in the courtroom today. Her lawyer expects the decision will be handed down very soon.
All right, coming up, for some kids, summer is a wonderful break from school, but for others, it can mean 3 months of near starvation. How one Maine woman took it upon herself to feed the needy this summer.
And how President George H.W. Bush is celebrating 94 years right here in our state. That's coming up straight ahead. All righty, well.
Oh, now we finally get to say hi, right?
What's up, YouTubers?
Hey, YouTube. Hey, Facebook.
Day 2 of our YouTube experiments. How are you guys? And Facebook, our loyal Facebook viewers.
Regular Facebook
always
followers.
There. What's going on, guys? We were talking usually before the show, election days, like generally nothing happens on election days. It's just like election.
Right.
Today has been a day. Like without the election, it's just been
and
so
some horrific
much.
news.
Yeah,
I mean,
awful.
we had the Lewiston boy.
No,
2 court cases that are like 2 of the most high-profile court cases ever here.
Yeah. No, it was a full news day. So let's get to what y'all are saying here. So yeah, obviously you guys have very strong opinions about the Eugene Cole case and about Mr. Williams being in court today. Yeah, Tammy, isn't that a great thing? So you'll see her story coming up in just a little bit. I went to Jay today to visit with this young lady who just moved 2 weeks ago to this new house in Jay, and kind of came upon the stats that we've talked a lot about in our Feed Maine program about how food insecurity for kids is such a big deal in Maine. It's 1 in every 5 kids, which is just a really horrible number. So she's like, we need to do something about this, and so she's come up with an idea and a plan, and it's taking off on social media, and hopefully you've shared it, and lots of other people will as well, and she'll be busy making sandwiches and bag lunches for all kinds of kids. Hopefully.
Love that.
That would be great. So
Diane is watching us from Texas. Hey, Diane. Thanks for watching.
Texas? What's up, Cheyenne? How are you?
Guys, Lee is going to get really mad at me for asking this, but if you voted in Maine today, what did you think of the ballot, the ranked choice ballot? I want to know. Let us know in the comment section what the experience was like.
I'm not mad.
I know. Just should we do one more ranked choice story
Yes,
in the meantime?
I had a headache. I voted and I was like, I don't get it. And I watched like 30 stories
a day
leading up to it, so I felt I was prepared. And I get in there and I was like, all right, what? All right, so
you probably wish it was the bobblehead election.
I just drew a picture
that I had.
I just drew a little connect the dots picture. No, I would never do that. But I thought about it. Like, these people worked really hard. I feel bad because I don't really know how I want to do this.
Yeah.
So.
Did you vote in Portland?
South Portland. Yeah. Change is hard.
Change is hard.
And I just wasn't used to it. So. Cheyenne, how can you be sick in June? Come on.
Come on now.
94 years, very young. Former president and part-time Maine resident George H.W. Bush celebrating a big birthday this year. His family sent messages of love and congratulations today on Twitter and Facebook, and many of you wishing 41 a very happy birthday as well. The former president is celebrating at home in Walker's Point in Kennebunkport. He's with his family, which is his idea of perfection, according to a family spokesperson. Bush 41 came home to Maine earlier this summer season, and locals lined the streets to welcome him back.
Neil Bush, H.W. and Mrs. Bush's third son, wrote an op-ed today asking Americans to volunteer and serve their communities to celebrate his father's birthday. And the Central Intelligence Agency also took some time to honor the 41st president.
All the people here in one way or another, I think point out the fact that we must work for peace, for decency, and respect for the rule of law. So this is not a time to claim victory and turn our backs on the intelligence needs of the future.
To mark the former president's birthday, the Central Intelligence Agency took us back in time, releasing never-before-seen videos of H.W.'s time as CIA director and his final visit to Langley as president. In his final months in the White House, President Bush spoke to members of the CIA and awarded the National Security Medal to Bob Gates.
So cool to see him celebrate 94 years. That's awesome.
Fun fact, we went to the same high school.
You and HW?
Yep.
Nice.
Not at the same time.
Different times, yeah.
Believe it or not.
And I have to say this, and I hope he doesn't get mad. I hope he's not watching the news on his birthday. When I see that speech from, I think that was, what, 1983, I think he said, it just reminds me of Dana Carvey doing his George Bush impression.
Oh, I really hope he's not watching.
Well, but he did it really well. The voice was great. Okay. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Okay. A cause for kids.
I think this could get big. I think this could go and help a lot of people, and I can't wait to start helping.
How one woman from a small town is hoping to make some big changes in children's lives. That story is coming up.
And Keith Carson is mapping out the week's forecast, and he may give us a peek at his very first Father's Day weekend. Stick around.
Big day coming up. So I have already figured out, well, when I got one Father's Day gift early already, and one I found out by accident.
Oh.
Well, it's not my fault.
Wait, Keith, I don't want to call out your math or anything, but that's not, your numbers are not comparable.
It's true.
You did 3 out of 12, which would be 3 out of 12 months. He had 19 years. You should have put his number a month.
I know, I didn't have enough. Well, it's more than 19 years, isn't it?
It's 20, right? Tyler's 20?
He is 20. Yep. It's okay. You pay attention.
Back to
Pam,
Facebook.
I don't know who you're talking about. Okay. I'm not sure if you're talking about.
What'd you say?
1/4 of a year. That makes sense.
Right, but you put.
Pam, I don't know if you're talking about the Lewiston middle school child, but we did talk about that earlier in the newscast, if that's what you're referring to.
I guess.
Just an
I guess the 3 out of 12
story.
threw me off because that was months.
Because of the math.
We just got this. I haven't even read it yet.
Okay.
Oh. Hancock County.
Yep. Hey, Jay, yeah, we have that right here, so hold on 1 second.
So, little update with an Emera, Maine power outage alert. There's a broken pole on Mariaville Road in Ellsworth right now, or the Ellsworth area. It's causing an outage to more than 2,300 Emera customers. Crews are on their way, and you can go to Emera's website for some updated information.
So there you go. Thank you, Jay. We got that right there. Yeah, that's broken pole.
Bud says he thought ranked choice is very easy to understand.
There you go, Bud.
Chris said confusion. I hate how they word the stuff. I'm assuming you're talking about the referendum question. I will agree it was remarkably confusingly worded.
The referendum question, I had to read it a few times because I wasn't totally convinced which way I was. I know how I wanted to vote. I just wasn't sure which vote meant what result.
When I actually did that story last week, I went out of my way to say, you know, if you vote yes, it means this. If you vote no, it means this. Because the question itself is like.
I wonder. Yeah, Pam, we did do that story earlier. It's absolutely awful. Just awful, awful, awful. It was the first story we did in our newscast.
I don't even know what's coming up next.
And there will be more.
Story.
Yeah, they should make it simple. Do you want ranked choice voting to continue? Yes or no?
Right.
That's
Or do you want it in November, yes or no?
Yeah, like let's just make it super easy. All the
There's got to be some legal religious. All right, well, most people look forward to summer. It can actually be a really hard time for people who struggle with food insecurity, especially kids.
Yeah, kids do get the chance to have breakfast or lunch while they're in school, and even though there are some summer programs that are available for kids in need, there are still some gaps. One Maine woman is hoping to do her part to fill those gaps.
Do you want us to get this in the show?
Matt Dunlap just confirmed that a number of polling locations are running out of ballots because of higher than expected turnout.
Wow.
You're trying to get more in polling.
Okay, but we can say that. You want me? I can wing that before we go into weather. Yeah. Should we do this? Or
yeah, we'll do both.
Okay, you do that. I'll do this.
Okay.
Rachel, we have a couple of like breaking-ish things that we'll just wing. I hope Rachel heard me.
Whatever.
This is it.
Okay.
This is a bad place not to have a pedestal because of
They put it there sometimes.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll do this on 9 and then I'll turn to 8 for this. Oh, 8's with Keith though. Ignore me.
Yeah. Okay, so you do the first half, I'll do the second half, and then I'll go first here.
When is, okay. Okay. At last check, Stacey's original post had been shared almost 750 times.
She is very much looking forward to seeing brown bag after brown bag getting taken away from her porch. Now, before we get to Keith, we have a couple of stories we want to talk about. This one is coming in from the Ellsworth area where there's a broken pole on Mariaville Road in Ellsworth. Over 2,300 customers without power right now, says Amara, so they're working on that, and we'll keep you updated as that situation develops.
And one other thing regarding Election Day, Secretary of State Matt Dunlap actually just confirmed to us that a number of polling locations are running out of ballots right now. That's due to an unexpectedly high voter turnout, so I guess a good thing in one direction, and we're actually going to be speaking with him live on News Center Maine at 5:30.
All right, so
but
now
first,
we can speak to Keith.
All right.
And that's a wrap. Okay, thank you, Keith. So
you're the best news of the day. The weather was great.
Yeah, right?
It's sad when that happens, isn't it? It was really nice today. Warmer. I like this over yesterday. I don't know if Maine
I like today too over
yeah,
yesterday.
Just a little.
Let's heat it up a little bit.
Yeah,
let's go. Come
we
on.
got it. We
Crank
got that
it
going for you, Lee. I know you like the heat. Next couple of days and into the weekend. 84 officially in Portland. The only places that weren't that warm, Bar Harbor and Rockland in the 60s and 70s for highs. Dew points starting to creep up a little bit. Nothing huge, but overnight and certainly into the day tomorrow, you'll notice that these dew points start really getting into the 60s to around 70, which is in that oppressive range. Visible satellite, again, pretty clean. We do have some high thin clouds over northern Maine, a couple of cumulus clouds down across parts of New Hampshire, but the rest of today is fine. Tonight is largely clear as well until we start to roll some clouds in tomorrow. But this system here that is our next storm system is relatively disorganized in nature. So even as it comes through tomorrow afternoon, it doesn't have all that much moisture or all that much lift to work with. So showers and storms will be there, but it won't be a washout. So our forecast showing you tonight is clear and relatively mild. Temperatures staying in the 60s and eventually 50s in the mountains. Now tomorrow, through around noon, we're dry. It's not until the afternoon showers start moving in. And even still, if you're in Aroostook County and parts of down East Maine, your first showers of the day may not get there till 6 or 7 o'clock, late afternoon, early evening. And then some of these will be thunderstorms rolling through on Wednesday night and into early Thursday morning. And then Thursday itself is interesting. I think the shower activity will be heaviest across the mountains on Thursday with some sun along the coastline, a couple of pop-up thunderstorms Thursday afternoon, and then we roll out and start clearing out in time for Friday. The story after that is going to be the humidity and the warmth, because the warmth is going to be very substantial over the weekend and into next week. So this is where all the warm anomalies are on the map, and you can see it creeping, kind of surging itself in. Look at this wave on Friday, and it kind of crashes down on us Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. All of those days will be mild. Father's Day looks hot, temperatures in the mid and upper 80s. The warmest day, and it's pretty far away, so we'll see what happens, is Monday. Some of the computer models over southern Maine on Monday have us in the upper 90s with dew points around 70, which is offensive. So we'll see how that goes on Monday. Even I like the warmth. If that actually verifies, which, you still get 6 days out, if those numbers verify, our heat index is 105. So there'll be plenty of heat to be had over the weekend and perhaps lasting into next week, too.
All right.
Wow.
Have the kids get me fans on Father's Day. That'll be good. Be ready to go.
Looser clothing is like better for venting,
a must
too, isn't
for
it?
you,
I think that's how that goes.
General.
No. Don't be crazy.
Yeah, I was going to say. You know who you're talking to, right? Okay, you're going to love this story.
Okay.
So this is a dairy cow who's in all kinds of trouble, legal trouble, because she thought the grass was greener on the other side of the country. Or of the border. The border.
Amazing. Penka the cow was grazing along the border between Bulgaria and Serbia when the farmers lost track of her. 2 weeks later, Serbian authorities turned her over to Bulgaria, where she was quarantined and charged for crossing the border without papers. She was scheduled to actually be put down.
But Penka's case caught the eye of influential people such as Paul McCartney. A petition for her release took off. Even the European Union put in a good word for her. Thanks to the international outcry, Bulgaria has agreed to spare Penka's life. See?
Amazing. Wow. It's amazing. Okay, so that was some happy news finally. There is a lot going on today, including coming up on News Center Maine at 5:30. Cindy Williams joins us now with a preview.
Hi, guys. Secretary of State Matt Dunlap says that the governor's threat not to certify the votes from this election because he doesn't like ranked choice voting is an empty threat. We're going to speak live on News Center at 5:30 with Secretary Dunlap about how this process works, and really the governor doesn't have anything to do with it. Also ahead, a holdup at an Orono bank, the hunt for a bank robber in northern Maine, and police say this may not be the first time this particular robber has struck. That and more ahead at 5:30. Back to you.
All right, Cindy, thanks so much. Now we'll be right back. Gary, it's a cow, not a person. Gary,
that is true.
Have a little fun.
Come on. We got to love our cows. It's not a cowspiracy. Right, Keith?
Oh.
Come on. I watched it. Yeah, humidity's going to be good. What if my hair gets all curly? It's
going to be getting messed
Stefan.
up,
dude, it's going to be a mess.
Stefan needs to slow his roll in the comments section a little bit.
Stefan, do you need to have police? Make sure you guys all get along.
Stefan, I would argue, to your point, that being an independent just means you don't want to fully associate with the ideals of a party, right? Isn't that kind of the point?
Yeah, I like that idea.
Right.
I'd argue it's just that when the other party messes up, then you can say, see, I'm not associated with it.
It's your excuse. Wasn't my fault.
See, they both suck.
I would say, so here's my personal philosophy, since you didn't ask.
Lee, what's your personal philosophy?
I consider myself, I am affiliated with a party, but I vote, I feel like, independently of my party. Like, I'll vote for whoever I want to vote for. I don't care if
Whatever
it's
your
Republican, Democrat, or Independent. I don't think that my party defines me.
That's fair.
But I do like to have a say in the primaries like this, where I want to be able to have some say in who's going to actually be a choice.
Yeah, we'll come over there.
Hey, Ron, they still don't have the open for the 5:30? Okay. The open for the 5:30.
What are we learning
Yes,
about?
cows' lives do matter. Ah, Donna, that's pretty funny.
Learning about what?
Light years.
The cow wanted to move.
Buzz Lightyear?
All right, kids, going this way. We got to move the camera over here. It's okay. Liam's busy, so I'll take care of it.
Yeah, Liam,
Doing
thanks.
Liam's job again.
Thanks,
No problem.
Liam.
It's all right. It happens every day. It's fine.
Yeah, Liam's not hardworking or anything.
It's cool.
So lazy.
I got it. Don't worry, Liam. I got it.
I heard Liam takes 2-hour lunch breaks.
Good job, Liam.
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard. I heard. Rumor mill.
I know. The company owes you lunch, actually.
What do we have today?
Buzz Lightyear.
Light years. How much time do we have?
90.
Okay, let's get going. Great viewer question. I like to get these in between the hate mail. Astronomers measure the distance of celestial objects in light years. So extrapolating to the next level, does this mean the light we're looking at in the skies may be coming from objects that are no longer there, given it's taken so long for the light to reach us?
This reminds me of a question that was on the ballot today.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I follow this. I totally follow this.
It's a great question. So let's go first to what a light year is. Now, it's worth noting that in the biz, so to speak, they don't really use light years. There's different measures, but light years is not a popular one. But in theory, it's the amount of distance that light travels in a vacuum in 365 days, which is about 5.8 trillion miles. So you talk about light and it reaching your eyes. From the sun to the earth is about 8.5 minutes. It's how long it takes to get there. The most luminous stars, though, are 1,500 to 2,500 light years away. So it would make sense that a star could be dead and you could see it. So it's possible. However, stars live for a really long time, more than 1 million years. So the chances that you happen to catch the light coming from a dead star in your lifetime is very low.
But it's possible.
It's possible. But it's kind of a myth, and I saw an Uber fax that it said most of the stars you see are dead. That's not true. So Uber fax apparently didn't check their facts. But there we go.
Well, it's to infinity and beyond is all I heard. All right, Center 5:30 is coming up next. All right, kids, where are you? Hey, Facebook, YouTube's.
Bye, guys.
We'll see you mañana.